This guy, I remember I was teaching him, and I remember he once told me, "You are the stupidest DJ I've ever met."
Why?
I'm gonna tell you why. He told me, "I have never met an amazing DJ like you. The things you do in this room, you are really, really good."
In the bathroom?
So, I'm in the bathroom, I cool off. After I am sure I'm completely cool off, wear back my t-shirt, and then I go for that interview. Then I meet Drew and Tony, the owner. We have a short interview. I present my certificates, my documentation for Homeboys. And then they go like, "Awesome, you're hired." I got my first job. My first job just landed like that. It was 6 G's permanent, and then it was any other client you get, we add an extra 2 G's. If you bring a client, an extra 2 G's is added on top. But with no client, you only get 6 G's. And so we started work. Now, that job, I got that job. Tony leaves me with Drew. I tell Drew, "I've walked up to here." Drew goes like, "What?" And he says, "You don't look like you've walked." I'm like, "Bro, do you know how much I had to chill in the toilet?" So Drew gives me bus fare, at least to go home and to come back the following day. God bless that man. So, and from there, work begins for me.
But no work is Village Market.
Now I work at Village Market and I live at Shaurimo. So I come up with an economical system. So the economical system was walk from Shauri up to Koja, take a 106,
yes,
all the way to VM, do work, 106, back to Koja, then from Koja, walk home to Shaurimo. And that is how I made it economically. Let me tell you the biggest blessing with working for that company is now, I'd not touched gear for about 1.5 years, professional gear. I was playing with Newmark 88. Now, because of that, I am daily practicing at a high level.
And they want you to practice, because of course it's part of your
Because
job.
now students will start walking in. So I start practicing, I become really, really dope. Guess one of the students who passes by there?
They know.
John Falme.
John Falme.
That's how I met John Falme.
You taught him?
I taught John Falme to mix, bro, man.
What? That's crazy. Because now you both became Falmes.
Can you imagine?
In fact, you are the real Falme. He's your son.
And then Joe passes by, he's this drummer, he's this passionate guy. Then he says, "I want to learn how to scratch and boom. And our friendship with Joe began there. We started, taught him how to scratch. And man, look at this guy, bro.
What?
Look at this guy, Manzi. I was so proud of that. The same environment is where I met DJ Deno, Kev's bro.
Yes, that's where I thought.
Yes,
yeah.
That's where I met him also. And that's where he grew. Sana. Now, those 6 months were hectic growth for me because I was growing in my craft as a DJ. I wasn't playing in front of people yet, but my skill was tightening. That was 06. The business grew, and then we started realizing we needed students. Students wanted accessibility, so they wanted a city center branch.
Yep.
So, because I live in Shaurimoyo, okay, I told Drew, "You continue with this Village Market, I will take the CBD one."
Nice.
All right?
Same
So
here.
we were here at Church House, 2nd floor, opposite Bomb Blast. Now we are entering 07. 07 now, this is where I meet now some caliber of students that were there. Because I'm an optimist, I'm going to begin with the good ones. This is where I taught Kim, Nick D, and Mo Spice how to DJ.
What?
You know, most guys, the reason most guys think I'm very old is because all these senior DJs, we are age mates. Si ati tumeachana sana. It's just that they found me just a step ahead.
Yep.
Is that making sense?
Yeah, yep.
And so we were there just teaching these guys. I remember I taught another guy known as Dan Mixer. I remember there's a student, and I will never forget this student. I can't remember his name. And thank God I can't remember his name. This guy, I remember I was teaching him, and I remember he once told me, "You are the stupidest DJ I've ever met."
Why?
I'm gonna tell you why. He told me, "I have never met an amazing DJ like you. The things you do in this room, you are really, really good. But I don't know why you are sticking to gospel music. You are the stupidest guy I know. Where is gospel music going to take you?" Can you imagine?
So
You're an old student.
When you teach them with gospel music?
Me, I was teaching them with what I have.
Yes.
If you have music, you play your own music. I will not force you to play mine.
Yes.
You play yours. But when I'm teaching you with what I have. Is that making sense?
Very.
You imagine teaching someone and that someone calling you stupid. I remember I went home that day and I said, God, you have had that boy. Give me grace for this.
That must have hurt, eh?
It was painful, bro. It was painful. One of the most painful things I've ever gone through in my career.
What was the pain?
The pain was standing up for God and looking like a failure. That was the pain. Standing up for something right and looking like a failure. That was not easy. And so during those days, I remember there was my first ever paying gig happened that year. I remember there was a guy, there was a chick who was graduating from our church at Lighthouse, and she called me to DJ for her graduation. And I remember I called Matthew. Matthew used to have DJ equipment. I remember I went, took his gear, went for that gig, and I think they were paying me $3,500. And I remember DJing there the whole night. And I remember this guy saying, "Man, you are such a bad DJ. How come you don't have music? Because you're growing, your collection is not as big." Your collection is not as big. And I remember being crushed by those statements. I remember being booed in that gig. And that was
Was that the first time you were booed?
That was the first time I was booed when I was DJing. And it was a house party, by the way. DJing to about 20 people only. And they're there crushing me down, and it was painful. It was in Buru Phase 1. I'll never forget that gig. That was very, very painful. And I remember when I returned his machines, I gave Matthew his 3Gs and I remained with 500 bob. That was my first ever pay. Making 500 bob. Even though technically DJing was paying.
Yes.
DJing was paying for me. And so that year went and I said, God.
This 06 now.
Remember, 06 I'm at Village Market.
Oh, yes.
Where I met John Farley.
Yes, I get it, yes.
07 is when I meet Kim and his brother, Mo, and some other DJs there, Dan Mixer. I can't remember the other ones if they are all still DJing, but those are the ones that I met there. DJ Watts. So in 07, that's when I meet this bunch of DJs and I teach them. And when 07 is coming to an end, I do a couple of gigs. That's when we met Esther. Because during 07, that's when there used to be Club Sikiliza.
Yes, at Village.